Good morning, dear students, and welcome to the geography class. Students, today we are going to learn the third chapter, that is Earth movement and major landforms. In this chapter, we would learn about landforms and how they are created. The surface of the Earth is highly uneven and irregular. The Earth's surface is being shaped and reshaped by external agents like running water, wind, glaciers, etc. That is the reason our present landforms are diverse and varied. Mountains, hills, oceans, deserts, valleys, rivers, plateaus, plains, etc. are the different landforms, and we would be amazed to know how these various landforms are created. Let's look into it in detail. Two forces constantly shapes the surface of the Earth. They are the endogenic forces and exogenic forces. The forces which originate inside the Earth and bring changes on the surface of the Earth are called endogenic forces. They act below the surface of the Earth, and they include volcanic eruptions and earthquakes and landslides. Whereas the forces which operate on the surface and bring changes on the surface are called exogenic forces. The exogenic forces like wind and water drive erosion and deposition and make landforms on the Earth's surface. The powerful endogenic forces operating from within the crust are also known as tectonic movements. Crust is the topmost solid layer of the Earth. Tectonic movements can be divided into two types: sudden movements and slow movements. Sudden movements are those which bring abrupt changes on the surface. Earthquakes and volcanic eruptions are the examples of these movements. The changes are so sudden that a part of land may be fractured, a river may change its course, and a new land feature may be formed due to lava eruption and earthquake. Slow movements. Some changes in the Earth's crust are so slow that it takes hundreds of years for it to become noticeable. They are called slow movements. Slow movements are further classified into vertical movements and horizontal movements. Vertical movements operate vertically in the Earth's crust. They cause a large-scale upliftment or subsidence of a part of the Earth's crust. These movements are often known as continent-building movements. Horizontal movements are those movements which operate on the Earth's surface horizontally. Horizontal movements are of two types, that is, forces of compression and forces of tension. Forces of compression. These forces act on the rock strata from opposite directions, due to which the rock layers are bent up or folded into a series of anticlines and synclines. These forces are responsible for the formation of fault mountains. The Himalayas, the Rockies, the Andes and the Alps mountains have been formed due to the forces of compression and are examples of fault mountains. Forces of tension. These forces operate in opposite directions, thus causing a fault or a fracture in the Earth's crust. The fractured rock strata either slide upward or downward along the fault line. The faulting then gives birth to a new relief features like the Rift Valley or a block mountain. If a block of land subsides between two parallel faults, then it looks like a huge mountain known as Block Mountain. The valley of Narmada and Tapi are the examples of rift valleys, while Vindhyas and Satpura are the examples of block mountains. The landscape is being continuously worn away by two processes, namely weathering and erosion. Erosion begins with the process of weathering. Weathering is the breaking up of rocks on the earth's surface. The erosion is the weathering away of landscape by different agents like water, wind and ice. For example, weathering causes the rocks to break down and the erosion moves the sediments downhill to another place. The erosion and deposition creates different landforms on the surface of the earth. Work of a river. When the river falls at a steep valley side, it forms a waterfall. As the river enters a plain, it twists and turns, forming large bends known as meanders. Due to continuous erosion and deposition of the sides of meander, the ends of the meander come closer and closer. In a due course of time, the meander loop cuts off from the river and forms a lake called an oxbow lake. As we have already seen, continual erosion on the two outside bends of the meander makes its neck narrower. Eventually, the river cuts through its neck and flows across it instead of going to the meander itself. The original meander is then blocked due to deposition, which leads to the formation of Oxbow Lake. When the river overflows its banks, it leads to flooding. The flooding deposits layer of fine soil and other materials called sediments along its banks. This forms the floodplain, which is a fertile plain land, and the raised banks of the river are called levees. As the river approaches the sea, the speed of the flowing water reduces, and as a result, the river breaks up into a number of streams called distributaries. The accumulated sediments that rise over the water and the distributaries form a delta. The erosion and deposition of sea waves gives rise to coastal landforms. As a result of the continuous strikes of the sea waves on the rocks, small cracks are formed. The cracks develop and become wider, which forms the sea caves. As the caves become bigger and bigger, only the roof of the caves remain, thus forms the sea arches. Further erosion breaks the roof, thus only the walls are left. These walls are called stacks. The steep rocky coast which rises above the seawater is called sea cliff, and the sediments deposited by waves on the shore is called beach. Work of ice. Glaciers are rivers of ice which is formed as a result of melting. As the ice melts, the erosed surfaces gets filled up with water and becomes beautiful lakes in the mountains. The materials carried by the glacier such as rock, sand and silt gets deposited. These deposits form glacial moraines. An active agent of erosion and deposition in the desert is wind. Winds erode the lower section of the rock. Such rocks will have narrow base and wider top. The wind lifts and transports sand from one place to another. When the wind stops blowing, the sand falls and gets deposited in low hills-like structure. These are called sand dunes. When the sediment is finer than the sand, the wind can carry it over very large distances. When such sediments deposited in large areas, it is called loess. So with this, we end our class today, and in the next class, we would learn about volcanoes and earthquakes. Thank you and have a nice day.